So I want to talk about a pattern that kind of came up during our sharing circle on Thursday night. And of course, I'm not going to share names or specifics to protect, the innocent, to protect the confidentiality of the people there. But I do think it's fair to appropriate, I guess, to share the content because I think it's a pattern that's fairly common. And the pattern is this: the person that was sharing had been kind of isolating, and so when we isolate or when we don't allow our true selves out, like what I mean by our true selves is our true feelings, like how life feels to us, or speaking our truth about and speaking our opinion, and disagreeing and sharing that, just the sweetness of life and what brings us joy, and even like what we're afraid of and what we're sad about, It's like these things, there's a tendency in our culture, and we've been conditioned to kind of keep these things to ourselves. Okay, so then when we don't share these things, we take away the possibility for people knowing us, okay, and knowing who we really are, and embracing who we really are, and nurturing and accepting who we really are. So we set up this pattern, like we withhold who we really are, and then we get kind of hurt that people don't get us, or people don't know us, or we don't feel heard, or we don't feel seen, and this is a way maybe we self-fulfill this in a way, so that's the pattern. But I want to talk about the possibility of this. So when it gets into when we share who we really are and what we really feel and how we really see things, we inevitably feel vulnerable when we do that, because now it's like we're being real. We're not sharing some thought or some conceptual deal or some mask or some, whatever. We're sharing something real about ourselves. And when we share something real, there's a tendency to be vulnerable because we're laying it on the line. It's like, this is how I really feel. Now, if the person doesn't accept me, it's going to hurt a little more than if I share something kind of superficial about myself and someone doesn't like it. It's like, well, he didn't really know who I was, so no big deal, right? So we're laying it on the line more. But what that does is it gives people the opportunity to know us, to see us, to hear us, to get us, and it gives us the opportunity, for all those things, to be gotten and to be heard, and so that this is kind of, in my opinion, the true benefit of vulnerability. It's kind of the why, like why be vulnerable? If I had to do a talk on like why be vulnerable, this would be it, because then people can know you. Then people can see you, and then people can truly love and nurture who you really are, so that's like, now this is a different way of being. This is a different game, a different dance, if you will, because see, when we're withholding who we really are, it's a lot safer. As I said before, it doesn't hurt as much if someone's rude to us or rejects us or whatever else. This is like laying it on the line. It's like, this is who I really am. This is what I really think. This is how I really feel. Okay, so it's it's riskier. Okay, it's like, in a sense, more emotional. It's almost a little more dangerous, right? If someone doesn't like us, it hurts more because it's our real self, And so it requires maybe a different set of skills. And one skill I want to, it's kind of obvious, but I want to share is the gift of what I call discernment. And this type of discernment is having care. If we're going to be real and we're going to be honest, it's taking care who we share that with and when we share that. It's because it's that, and that is caring for our heart, caring for our emotional self, if you will, our spiritual self, our authentic self, or inner child, perhaps. It's like we don't just share it with anybody. If someone's careless, we don't share that part of ourself with them. you know. And so it's this discernment in like the question or the inquiry is like, who is able, if I am real and I am authentic and I do share my true feelings and my truth, like, is this person or people going to be able to hold that and to accept that and to honor that in me? You know, and usually my experience is it gets down to whether whether they do that themselves. You know, if they are sharing their feelings, they know it's a big deal. They know it feels vulnerable, right? So there's a tendency they respect it more. Also, it means they're more in touch with their feelings, and they can they're more comfortable, and they can hold the space of someone else sharing a raw feeling, and or a really sad feeling or a really joyful feeling. It's usually the big feelings, the really joyful or the really sad or the really hurt, the really hurt ones, or those are the ones that people freak out about because they aren't used to those feelings in themselves. And so when someone shares it, they kind of freak out. And what they will do is, if they're not used to it, they'll often unconsciously do something to kind of shut you down a little bit. It's usually not malicious or conscious, but if you're sharing something really sad, it's going to make them, they start feeling empathy and feeling sad with you. And maybe they're not comfortable with feeling that sad. So then if they can stop you feeling sad or shut you down, then they don't have to feel sad anymore. So it often gets to people that are that are in touch with their feelings, that allow themselves to feel their feelings and allow themselves to speak their truth. And they know they're comfortable with the feeling. They're reasonably comfortable anyway with the vulnerability and the risk. And they appreciate it when you're laying it on the line. When you're being real with them, they're honored. They're like, wow. I'm sure you felt that way when someone shared something with you and you felt kind of honored that they shared it with you. That's kind of how it is for people. Then if they've done their work and they're in touch with their feelings and they're used to being vulnerable, they'll recognize when you're being real. I mean, you can recognize when people are being real. You can, so it's like they feel it and they're just like, wow. And then they're able to embrace that. So my suggestion is to find them, and then you can kind of break this pattern of, if COVID didn't teach us anything else, right? We learned, the pain, if you will, of isolation, and so let's just make sure we're not continuing to isolate ourselves, even though we're in public, by not sharing, what we really feel. So anyway, that is my video for this week. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have an awesome week, and that you're maybe just pick one person or one time to share something real, or maybe you're used to this, I don't know, but I just want to encourage you to maybe take that risk, be vulnerable, but pick someone that you feel like can really honor that. And I will see you in a week.